This is a tutorial and training session for functional range conditioning, PAILs and rails of the ankle joint in dorsiflexion. PAILs and rails stands for progressive and regressive angular isometric loading. And within the functional range system, we use PAILs and rails to achieve three objectives. The first is to increase available range of motion or space within that joint itself, in this case, ankle dorsiflexion. The second objective is to start to gain access and control of our joint at that end range of its movement. And the third objective is to add quality to the connective tissue that makes up that joint itself. So what is ankle dorsiflexion? Well, the ankle has a few different movements, but we're going to be focusing on this upward movement of the foot away from the ground. This is ankle dorsiflexion. The opposite is plantar flexion, pushing down this way. And we're going to work on this upward direction of lifting the foot up away from the ground. Before we go into our PAILs and rails session, I will show you the three different setups that I use for my clients and my patients here in the office, and you can pick the one that you like best, and the workout will be the same no matter which setup you end up going into. The first setup you can use to do your ankle PAILs and rails for dorsiflexion is called the combat base position. It's done on the floor and you don't need any special equipment to do it. So let me turn to the side here. If I'm trying to get into a stretch of ankle dorsiflexion, I'm going to take my shin bone in this half kneeling position, whereby I'm going to drive my shin bone this way out over the front of my ankle so that I've got this deep stretch taking place in the soleus muscle, the deep Achilles tendon tissue in the backside of the ankle joint. Now, one of the important things about getting into this stretch that I'll show you here is that when we do our PAILs and rails, you're going to need to take the weight of your chest and put it over this leg. So I can't be stretching it here. I need my chest and my body over the front where I'm going to hug into this leg like this. So I would set up the stretch just like that. This thigh can be out to the side. It can be straight. That doesn't matter so much. But you want to find the deepest stretch that you can by taking your shin and bringing it out over your ankle. So now we are in dorsiflexion of the ankle there. So that's our first setup to get this done. The second setup that I use with my patients and clients for the PAILs and rails of ankle dorsiflexion is a stool or a bench. Now this could be a weightlifting bench. In this case, I've got a nice stool to land on. So the setup for this is going to be the same stretch, except now we can elevate ourselves. And some people that have maybe a little more challenge in their hip joint from the combat base position find this one to be a little more comfortable. So here I'm going to take my foot to the top of this stool and I'm going to bring it into that same dorsiflexion stretch whereby I'm driving my shin bone out over the front of my foot. And now I can use the hand holds underneath here to pull myself deeper into this stretch. So I'm blocking the stretching position by using my hands to pull myself deep into that stretch position. So that is the elevated stretch position using a stool or again, like a utility weight bench. So that's your second option for setups there. The last setup that I like to use for the ankle PAILs and rails of dorsiflexion is going to be a slant board. You can buy these on Amazon. They're about $40 to $50, and they're a wonderful tool for ankle and foot training. What's nice about this is that we can adapt the height of this board higher and higher as people start to gain more dorsiflexion. They can train deeper ranges of motion. So the setup is going to be the same here. My foot's going to come up to the board. What's also nice about these boards is that they have these little hand slots so that you can, again, pull yourself deeper into that stretch. So I'd have my foot up here, driving my shin out over the foot this way, and I can use these hand holds to pull myself deeper into the stretch, into that position, so that I've got this nice straight line of shin over foot. As I get better at this, I can always angle that up to increase the stretch. So that's our third option for our PAILs and rails. So let's get into the training session of the PAILs and rails. All of our PAILs and rails sessions start with a 60-second time under tension of stretch. So I'm going to use the combat base position. Use whichever position you prefer. I'm going to start by bringing my shin out over this way. Now, when you stretch this, you want to avoid that heel bone hiking up. That's got to stay tucked down to the ground there. So I've got my chest and my weight out over top, and I'm feeling that stretch deep in the backside of my calf there, the backside of my ankle joints. I've got my body weight over, I'm driving the shin out, checking the clock for 60 seconds of stretch. Just taking some slow, deep breaths in and out. Really trying to get that shin as far forward as I can. Just nice, slow breaths here. Good, we're getting close to 60 seconds. Let's go about another 20. So when we do our PAILs contractions here, PAILs is our progressive isometric. So you're going to be contracting the muscles that are being stretched. In this case, it is going to be a pushing of the foot down into the ground. So I'm going to try to drive this underside of my forefoot like I'm hitting a gas pedal in an attempt to lift myself up. That's why I need the weight of my chest over this leg, because to have it be a pure isometric, I don't want that to lift. I just want to squeeze, but keep so much of my weight over it that it can't move it up. So let's take a deep breath in. On these PAILs and rails, we're going to be pushing very hard. So I want you to use 50 to 80, 90% of your maximum intensity of contraction to get a deep change into these tissues. So let's take a deep breath in. Trap some core tension, keep some air in your abdomen, start to drive that foot down into the floor, start to squeeze that calf, push hard, hold firm for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. If you can stretch any further after that, take it further into the stretch. Another deep breath in, trap some air in your abdomen, hold tight, start to push into your PAILs contraction, gas pedal that foot in the ground, forefoot driving down to the floor, block it with your body weight, hold, push, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. If you can stretch any deeper, stretch further. Take a deep breath in. Trap that air in your abdomen, hold your core tight, start to push that foot into the ground. Really push hard here. Use a lot of intensity, a lot of effort. Keep squeezing, keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. If you can stretch deeper, go further. Another deep breath in. Trap that air in the abdomen, keep your core tight, drive the foot down into your PAILs contraction. Progressive isometric, squeeze the deep calf muscles, contract them hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. You should be close to your end range of motion here, meaning you will not be able to stretch any further. We'll do our last PAILs rep from here. Deep breath in. Keep your core tight. Push that foot into the ground. Contract the deep calf. Keep pushing. Ramp it up. Push hard. Push harder. Squeeze at your max effort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. So we've gone through all of our PAILs reps now. Now let's move into our rails. So if PAILs is a pushing of the foot down to the ground, our rails is going to be attempts to lift it. The way I like to test this is by rolling back off of that foot and trying to pull it up away from the ground. So my rails, I'm going to find the point at which I can just lift this up away from the ground as I roll back. So I'm going to start in my stretch. I'm going to start to pull my shin back this way and lift the top of the foot so that the bottom of the foot just comes off the ground there. And we're going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back into your stretch. This is going to be contracting all of the muscles on the front side of your shin, tibialis anterior. Okay, let's go again. We're going to pull the line of the shin back this way, and we're going to peel that foot up off the ground to the point at which it just lifts. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is our active regressive isometric contraction here, our rails. All right, again, peel the shin back
Try to pull the top of the foot up off the ground to where it just lifts up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back into the stretch. So we're trying to close that gap between where I can stretch it and where I can actively lift it. Let's roll it back. Pull the foot up off the ground. Contract the muscles on the front side of the shin, foot, and ankle. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll it back down. Good. Let's do one more. Let's go ahead and roll back. Pull the top of the foot up off the ground. Squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Back down. You know what? Let's finish with one more rep here. Let's go as hard as we can. Let's roll back. Really squeeze the top of the foot and shin. Front. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Okay. Go ahead and come on out of that position. So if I'm doing this in a full session, I'm going to be doing it on both sides. Give yourself a little bit of kind of neutral ankle movement after that, just some gentle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion after you go out of your PAILs and rails. So that is your tutorial for functional range conditioning, PAILs and rails of the ankle joint in dorsiflexion. Great job, guys.